Game week 15, Chelsea are second in the Premier League. If we said this on game week 1, no one would have believed you, but they're in it. Or are they actually in it? H.
It's a really tough one, this, because I think when you look at how they've performed so far this season, how exciting they've been to watch, the fact that Enzo Maresca has gone into what looked like absolute chaos, managed to narrow his group down to the players that he wants to work with, been very ruthless in that, and made sure that he's got his group and proceeded forward with his group. It's very difficult to say anything negative about them at this stage, but I'm still not convinced that they're serious Premier League title contenders. And that's not to take away from the brilliant job they've done. I will say that they look like they're well ahead of schedule, which is a compliment to them, of course. But I just look at some of that group. I think there's a lot of young players in there. I think there's players that are a little bit wet behind the ears. I think if I look back at Enzo Maresca's managerial history, I can find examples of where he run his teams into the ground a little bit and they struggled in the latter part of the season. So I guess what I'm saying is, it's not that I'm unconvinced and that I'm really negative about them, but I think they need to do a little bit more to make me feel like I can sit here with chest and say Chelsea are in it, like Liverpool are in it, like I think Arsenal will probably be in it come the latter stage of the season, and like I still think Manchester City have a chance of joining there as well.
It's funny because I don't think, what more can they do? I think you've got to take football at face value and you've got to take it at what is going on at present. They're second, they've scored 35 goals, 2.3 goals a game. They've got the highest XG and they've conceded the third most goals apart from Arsenal and Liverpool. And I think at this stage, if Arsenal are in the title race, then Chelsea are in the title race because I think they've played better football. They've got the same amount of points. They've scored more goals. So I think if Arsenal are in the conversation, Chelsea have to be in the conversation. The only thing that I do agree with you is I think the goalkeeper and defence are slightly lightweight from what we are used to seeing from a Premier League winning side. We always say that goals win your games, defences win your leagues, and their defence isn't rock solid. It doesn't fill me with a huge amount of confidence. But what I love about Chelsea is that they just play the way that they want to play. They're so exciting to watch. They've got these just incredibly quick attackers, loads of skill, and I think they're blessed in the same way that Arne Slot is, with no pressure. There's no pressure on Enzo Maresca. Every time he's asked about the league title, he just laughs it off because Chelsea shouldn't win the league this year. And I heard Jamie Carragher say this is no underdog story. They've spent 1.2 billion. That is true. But no one in the footballing industry had Chelsea first at the beginning of the season, just like no one had Liverpool first. And I think they're both thriving for the exact same reason, which is there is no pressure and there is no expectation. And I think the front six of Chelsea's, man for man, is better than the front six of Liverpool's. I think Liverpool have performed better and I think they're a little bit more solid. But I don't see how Liverpool... Well, I understand why Liverpool are in the title race, but I don't see how you can say that Arsenal are challengers if Chelsea aren't.
The front six is an interesting...
I'd rather have Liverpool's front six probably over anybody's because I just think they've got so much variety and so many of those sort of players with that killer instinct in front of goal. I get what you're saying about Chelsea, Kim. Like, you're right that they can't do much more, but I guess the way I'm looking at it is I'm zooming out a little bit and I'm not going to get caught up by recency because I think, recency gives us something, but it doesn't give you the whole picture. And I think when you get to the business end of the season, like we're talking about them not being under pressure now, at some point, if they're in it, the pressure will kick in. Yeah. And it's how they handle it. And I've got no proof to go by that says they can handle it. It reminds me of the first season that Arsenal challenged under Arteta, where it looked like they were flying. There was no expectation, but in the end, they just fell a little bit short. And it was mainly because they lost players in defensive areas. And we're talking about Chelsea's defence already being suspect, even when people are available. So I'm a bit worried about that.
It actually reminds me of Brendan Rodgers' Liverpool as well. Gung-ho attacking, scored lots of goals. Spurs gave a great example of that. Conceded 2 sloppy goals, then just came to life. Have players that can do things that are unexpected, and in forward areas have plenty of magic, but in defensive areas are a bit of a sham.
I mean, I agree with both of those comparisons completely. The only difference is that this Premier League season will not be like the Premier League seasons of the past. It just won't be. City aren't as good. Arsenal aren't as good. Liverpool are new and still a bit unknown under Arne Slot. They're fantastic at the moment. Anything could happen to them. So I think this is going to be a really odd season. I know we've said it loads of times. I get blue in the face from saying it, but I do think that the points total will be lower than it ever has been. And I think that will play into the hands of Chelsea. So I think in an ordinary season where Arsenal would be playing like they did at the beginning of last season, Man City still had Rodri and they were playing like they were last season, you'd tip Chelsea for 4th. But this isn't a season like that, and I think the way that they're playing, you can't begrudge anyone saying that they're in the race.
Let's go early. Where do you think they'll finish at the end of the season?
I think they'll finish second.
Oh, that's a big statement. I think they'll probably finish third come the end of the season. I do. I just think it's going to level out a little bit for them. I think they're going to have a dip at some point, and it's how they handle it. If I'm not mistaken, I think their latter stages of the season looks a lot tougher on paper as well, because it wasn't that long ago where I was looking at their run of games and going, well, they haven't really played that much in terms of the top teams. And they've just come off the back of a decent-ish run, and a very good run, I should say. And I'm now looking at their run again, and I'm going, actually, that's a decent run as well. So at some point, it's going to get a lot tougher. And given what I've said about Enzo Maresca teams in the past, I think the combination of those things is going to see them drop off a little bit.
I'm going to go fourth because I think City will come good eventually. By good, I don't mean City level good. Kim's fuming. I'm sorry.
I'm not fuming.
I'm sorry, bro. I'll go Chelsea fourth.
I'm just thinking, I said second, you said third, you said fourth. 15 games, this is 15th game week. Let's just predict our top four then.
Go for it. I'm going to go... it's a whole nother video. I'll go Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea.
Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, City.
Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, City.
All right.